Welcome to Changing the Narrative with Red.
And the voice.
Stacy is out on medical leave for the next week or two. There was an incident with some fire and whatnot. But he's fine, absolutely fine, recovering well, and he'll be back in a couple of weeks. He just doesn't want y'all to see him any less handsome than what he really is in real life. So, getting back to business. We are here to talk about setting up a non-resident bank account in South Africa. If you're going to be here for an extended period of time or plan to be here on a visa of some sort, you're going to need a bank account. Why do you need a bank account? A lot of the utility providers, phone service providers, insurance providers, they are going to want to draft those monthly payments from a South African bank account. They cannot draft it from your U.S. bank account. You can't put a debit card on file or a credit card like you do in the States. They're going to want to draft it directly from your bank account. If you don't have a bank account, you're going to have an issue. We found that out the hard way. So I'm trying to help you from having to have the same issues that we did trying to get things done. Setting up a South African bank account is also helpful because it allows you to take advantage of favorable conversion rates. So instead of swiping your card every single time that you pay for something, instead you can use your South African bank account and you know that you purchased those rands at, $18 conversion rate or a 17.5 conversion rate, whereas the rates change every single day. And depending on the day that you might be making a big purchase, it could be more expensive just because the conversion rate is different that day. So it benefits you to set up a South African bank account and then transfer money for your known expenses for the next couple of months. You've got to pay for rent, you've got to pay for utilities, or that you're going to be buying furniture or something. Take that into account, and when the conversion rate is favorable, exchange over everything that you need, and then you can benefit from those conversion rates. So definitely keep that in mind, especially if you're going to be here for a long period of time or if you're going to be making some big purchases. So how do you go about setting up a non-resident bank account? The first thing you have to do is choose a bank. There's a great article that I found that I used to kind of figure out what bank that I wanted to bank with, and then I also talked to a couple of friends that are United States citizens that reside here, and a lot of them use FNB Bank. There are quite a few other banks. There's ABSA, there's Capitec, and there's Nedbank. They're all very popular banks, and they offer non-resident bank services. But in my research, I found that FNB was the least expensive as far as transaction fees and monthly fees and things like that. So we went with FNB. There are some other services that are offered by those other banks that might be important to you. So definitely look at all four of them. There are some other banks as well, but those are the big four that most people bank with. So ABSA, Captech, and Nedbank, like I said, I found were a little bit more expensive than FNB for the fees and stuff. And that was really important for me because we're on a budget. So what do you need to set up the bank account? The most of these banks are going to ask you to provide your passport. Most important thing. So you want to make sure that your visitor visa, or if you have some other type of visa, you have that information available as well. You want to make sure that it's in good standing and it is not expired, because you need to be in good standing in order to open up the bank account. You're also going to need at least 3 months of bank statements and income statements. In my case, I'm not working right now, so I said that I was a housewife. So I didn't have to provide the income statements, but we did have to provide bank statements for the previous 3 months, just to show that we had some type of money. The next thing that you're gonna need is proof of your address. Your bank statements can be proof of your address because they've got your address on there. You could use the utility bill, a lease agreement, anything that proves that your U.S. address is actually your address. Some also require you to have a South African bank account. I would say probably any of them that have online services are going to ask that you have a South African phone, because you need to be able to receive the OTPs or the one-time pins that they send to you, and you also are going to need it to get any alerts or anything like that you set up on your online bank account. So make sure you have your South African phone set up. It's really easy to do. MTN is one of the biggest prepaid providers. We just got a cheap prepaid phone, and we loaded up with a little bit of like 200 rands at a time, and that lasts for the whole month. So 200 rands is about $20. No, 200 rands is about $12. So it's not expensive. If you don't use all the minutes, it's not a huge loss, but you're gonna need a South African phone number to get this done. The last thing is, what are the limitations that you have as a non-resident? So one, you're not able to deposit rands into your bank account without having documentation of the source of that money. If it's a refund from something, you need to provide the receipt. If you sold something to someone, you need to have, a receipt of that transaction. If you are getting a rebate of some kind for something that you purchased, if you're renting a property to someone, you need to provide the lease. So anything that you deposit into the account with rands, you need to be prepared to provide documentation for it. So if you don't have documentation for it, like if somebody just gave you some money because you paid for dinner, you can't then go and put that money into your South African bank account because you don't have any record of a transaction to prove the source of that income. So the other thing is, so you can freely transact between your U.S. bank account and your South African bank account. You can either do a wire from your U.S. bank account, or you can go to a bank machine, take the money out that way, keep the receipt from the bank machine so you can prove that the money came from your personal bank account, and you'll have to go see a teller to deposit that into your bank account. So that's it. We're gonna wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for staying through to the end of the video. There might be some bloopers at the end. There's bloopers at the end.
Yeah.
So don't click off the video. There's gonna be a couple of bloopers. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful. And make sure that you like, subscribe, share this video to anyone who's interested in traveling to South Africa, staying for a long period of time, or residing here. We are here to make sure that your move goes as smoothly as possible and help prevent some pitfalls that we ran into ourselves. So thank you so much. We appreciate your support, and CTN is out.
Yeah.
My hair ain't trying to do it. Look at this.
You look like a Teletubby.
Anyhow.
The voice.
I said anyhow. Okay, let's do it again. Welcome to Changing the Narrative with Red.
The voice, 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 voice.
You didn't say and.
And the voice, 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 voice.
Welcome to Changing the Narrative with Red.
Still the voice, voice.
Stacey, come on. Welcome to Changing the Narrative with Red.
The voice.
And the voice.
And him too.
Do it for real.
I tried to all 4 times.